Right, so we moved house. Now, you're kind of... give me a cheer if you live in London. Okay, cool. So you'll know what I mean here. So renting, right? Renting is fun. Yeah! Now, when you move house in a rental situation, it's fun, isn't it? Because you get a choice of furnished, unfurnished, or part furnished. Woo! What a mystery box that is. When you think, oh, part furnished, like maybe there'll be a corner sofa or a sexy table. It's not. It's just all the shit the people that lived there before didn't want to move. You've got a TV stand in every room of the house. Brilliant. Oh, just what we've always wanted. And we moved house and we got left a set of bathroom scales. Now, we have never had a set of bathroom scales before, but here was a set. Pow! This will be a fun evening's entertainment. Let's weigh ourselves together. It was a terrible idea, I admit that. Now, I weighed myself first, and I weighed sort of roughly what I thought I was going to weigh, give or take a couple of bottles of wine. Obviously, by bottles, I mean boxes. I don't wish to be judged. Then my husband stepped on the scales, right? Now, I think I'm fairly fair on the genders. I don't like subscribing to loads of stereotypes, but I think it's fair to say that, on average, generally speaking, men weigh themselves slightly less frequently than women. And I was stood in the bathroom door watching my husband weigh himself, and he stepped on the scales, looked down at them, and looked so surprised that I thought the only way you could be that surprised is if the last time you weighed yourself, there was a midwife in the room. Like, I think he has gone through his whole life just assuming he's still 7 pounds 11 ounces. And this day was a shock for him. Now, also, just for clarity, so you're looking at me. I'm 5'0". I'm not a tall person. I've not married within my height range. My logic was, I figured if you're going to get one for the rest of your life, get proper value for money. Get a decent-sized human being. That's my husband. You know, I used the Le Creuset logic. You want it to last till you're 90. You want it to be quite difficult to move on your own, and I'm only touching the knob wearing oven gloves. He's a good one. I bloody love my husband. I fancy the pants off him. He's 6'3" and he's built like a brick shithouse, you know? But, like, not toned. Kind of more like a bread shithouse. If I'm being really honest about it. But that is my taste in men down to the ground. Oh, I find it so sexy. Like, I'm not very visual. I don't really care if you're blonde, brunette, bald. Couldn't give a fuck. I just like there to be a good danger of death if he rolls over in the night. Like that. Happy to be alive every morning. Oh, it's lovely. He's my best, right? He looked down at the scales and he just looked so upset. And I was sort of stood there watching him and thinking, oh, I don't want you to be upset about this. What you weigh just doesn't matter. I couldn't care less what you weigh. Like, what you weigh is just a number, and that number doesn't tell you anything about your fitness or your health or your muscle content or your size. It's literally just a measure of how good a hold gravity has on you. Unless you live in a particularly blustery area, it's not that useful, is it? Like, what you weigh, it's just ludicrous, and it kind of... It annoys me that it's one of the few numbers that we're allowed to be a bit boastful about, you know? Like, human beings on average, we're not allowed to say when we've done great things very much, but we are allowed to be like, oh, you know, I just wanted to lose those last 6 pounds before the summer. And you're sort of stood there talking to this person thinking, fuck, if you would just focus on raising your IQ by those last 6 points for the next general election. In a much better world. So I was sort of stood there watching him, and I thought, I don't want him to be upset about how much he weighs. So what I thought I would do was I'd try and divert the conversation. And I thought, what I'll do is I will Google something that weighs the same as him. Because in my head, what I thought would happen then was we would see weight from a different angle, and we'd be like, cool. Anyway, long story short, it turns out nobody wants to know that they weigh the same as a newborn elephant.